Good afternoon. It's still, I'm doing my second video this afternoon. It's still Wednesday. It's still the 23rd of September. I'm still in South Austin, and I'm James Exum, also known as Sakshi. I'm an old yogi, a practitioner of yoga, and a student of yoga in a much deeper level than most folks. I've been at this yoga and my learning of yoga and the intellectual pursuit of yoga and the writing and the commentaries and so forth for right at 50 years. This will be paradox number 10 in yoga philosophy. I just finished with number 9 a few minutes ago, and I'm going to do a double recording this afternoon. I want to finish up these 10 today. I promised myself I would do 50 videos by my 75th birthday, which is coming up on September the 30th, a few days out, so to speak, about well, let's see, if this is the 23rd, it's exactly a week from today, isn't it? It will be my 75th birthday. Happy birthday to me. I feel nowhere near 75 mentally and as far as my memory and my ability to solve problems intellectually. In fact, I feel as though I'm still in my 20s, which is a wonderful feeling. The retention of intelligence and reading comprehension and memory is an exercise. It's not something to take for granted, I assure you. You have to stay at it and keep going with it. It's not a gift. It's an attainment. Keep that in mind, folks, especially as you approach your two-thirds of the century, three-quarters of the century, excuse me. This one's called a paradox of time across the scales. What scales am I talking about? I'm talking about the cosmic, the galactic, the solar, the world of biology, down to the insects, and even subatomic, down to the atomic time level, the paradox of time. The reason I'm recording this one is I just recorded the play of Leela, or the play of God, and I wanted to connect these two together because, well, if you review both of them a couple of times, you'll understand the connection. I'm not going to go into that. I'm not going to waste time going into that at this exact moment. So let's go on and dive right into this one. I'm going to do something I normally don't do. I'm going to give you my summary that I keep on the side for myself first, and that might help you understand everything. Time manifests itself differently depending on the scale of observation, from cosmic to atomic levels. And here's where the paradox comes. It reveals a paradox where it is both absolute and relative. This complexity challenges human understanding and perception, bridging scientific and philosophical perspectives. Cosmic time spans billions of years. Well, I would say trillions of years. Why would we limit the cosmos to a billion years? They say in scientific circles it's about 14 point whatever billion years old, and they're dating it from the Big Bang. Well, I'm in total disagreement with the Big Bang theory, and here's an old man telling you why. I chose yoga because it fits almost perfectly my requirement for something I'm going to follow the rest of my life, to at least be logical. And yoga is very logical to me. I'm not talking about the Hindu mythology. I'm talking about the tenets of yoga. That's what I'm talking about. The philosophy of yoga makes a lot of sense to me. So I'm not going to get into a worldly debate on the subject of the Big Bang. But remember, it is a theory. The part of that I remember reading and hearing about several years ago was that everything at the beginning was in a space, a cubic space, smaller than the suitcase you carry when you're traveling across the country in your car or on a train or plane or whatever. All the components, the energy and the masses that exist now within the universe, was compacted down to the size of an area that could fit within the size of a suitcase. That makes absolutely no sense to me. That's totally illogical. That's why I reject the theory of the Big Bang. So we'll move on now. Cosmic time spans billions of years. I say cosmic time spans from the moment, so to speak, that the creator, Brahman, said, let there be time, let there be space. Before him, there was nothing but time, no space. Everything is a projection of Brahman. He is the only infinite entity in the universe. Everything was projected from him, so he is outside of time and space, just like the human soul, which is a spark of the divine, on loan to us from our first breath to our last breath, is a portion of Brahman, which itself is outside of space and time. It is also infinite. Only the human body, when we think of ourselves as a human body. When I think of myself as Sakshi, which is my soul, which is the name I gave my soul, which is the witness. So let's move on. That's enough of my personal opinion. Now we'll get into the text. It measures the universe evolution from the Big Bang, there it is, encompassing galaxies and star formation, and is perceived as vast and almost static relative to human experience. Well, I agree with that. Yoga philosophy views time as a mental construct with ultimate reality existing beyond temporal change, as reflected in meditative experiences of timelessness. And there's even a timelessness in our dreams. It's the fourth state of consciousness called Turiya. You can look that up. That's in Yogapedia, Wikipedia. I get no recompense from either one of those by suggesting you utilize them. Galactic time highlights motion and relativity. Star orbits and galaxies collisions occur over millions to billions of years, making human lifespans negligible in this context. Despite high orbital speed, solar and insect times contrast scales. Solar time governs daily and yearly cycles, vital to human civilization, but is brief compared to galactic or cosmic scale. Insect lifespans and biological rhythms operate on much shorter timescales, making a day significant for them but routine for humans, illustrating time's relativity based on the observer. In illustrating time's relativity based on the observer. Atomic time offers precise measurement, defined by atomic vibrations, especially cesium transition. Atomic time measures sounds with extreme accuracy, yet remains disconnected from everyday human experiences, underscoring time's dual nature as both universal and context dependent. Well, that remaining disconnected from everyday human experiences also applies to people in yoga that have reached a high level of proficiency as far as their yogic advancement on the yogic scale of comprehension and understanding, coming to self-realization, or as Dr. Carl Jung called it, individuation. So now let's get into the actual text. Exploring cosmic, galactic, solar, insect, and biological and atomic time. Introduction. Time is a fundamental concept, yet its nature and passage appears drastically different depending on the scale at which it is measured. Be it cosmic, galactic, solar, biological, or atomic, the paradox of time across these domains lies in both our perception and the physical processes that govern each scale. Cosmic time refers to the age and evolution of the universe itself. Measured from the Big Bang onward, there's that Big Bang. It is marked by events like the formation of galaxies, stars, and planets, and is often measured in billions of years. At this scale, time is vast and almost incomprehensible to the human experience. From this perspective of yoga philosophy, time is often viewed as a construct of the mind, a manifestation of Maya, which is another word for illusion, the cosmic illusion, that binds the individual to the cycles of birth and death. Adi Sankara, the great Advaita Vedanta philosopher, taught that the ultimate reality, Brahman, is beyond time and change, and space. The perception of time arises only within the realm of duality and ignorance. In deep meditation or samadhi, practitioners often reported a dissolution of temporal boundaries, experiencing a timeless present that aligns with Sankara's assertion that the true self is eternal and unchanging. When we say the true self, and he says the true self, we're talking about the soul. And that line that I wrote in there, in deep meditation or samadhi, practitioners report a dissolution of temporal boundaries, experiencing a timeless present that aligns with Sankara's assertion that the true self is eternal and unchanging, is exactly right. It is precise. I know that from personal experience. Myself, also known as Sakshi, James Exum, also known as Sakshi, I echo this sentiment by emphasizing the role of the witness, Sakshi, consciousness in yoga practice. I suggest that by cultivating awareness, one can observe the passage of time without attachment, recognizing that the essence of who we are is not limited by temporal events. My teachings encourage embracing the present moment fully, while understanding that our deepest identity exists beyond the fluctuations of time, aligning with both ancient yogic insights and the paradoxes revealed by modern physics. The paradox here is that while the cosmic time flows steadily, its markers, galaxies forming, stars dying, our rotation around the sun on a yearly basis, are so far removed from our daily experiences that they seem almost static. Galactic time measures the life cycles within galaxies, such as the orbit of stars around the galactic center, or the collisions of galaxies. These processes take millions to billions of years, if not longer. The paradox of galactic time is the relativity of motion. While our solar system orbits the Milky Way center at hundreds of thousands of miles per hour, that's the theory, the journey takes about 225 to 250 million years, again part of that theory, making our own lifespan seem insignificant in this context. Well, 225 million years to 250 million years would make our lifetimes seem insignificant. Here at 70, going on 75 in a week from now, September the 30th, the lifetime I've lived so far seems almost insignificant. So that's a very low comparison, 75 to 0. Solar time is familiar to us based on the Earth's rotation and its orbit around the sun. I'm being redundant. It governs our days and years. The paradox arises when comparing solar time to cosmic and galactic time. What seems long to us, a year, is a mere blink in the life of the sun or the galaxy. Yet solar time is the framework for human history and civilization. Well, you have to see, an ant sees the world from the ground level, so to speak. A fish sees the world from the underwater position, and we see the world from our rotations around the sun and going through the seasons, the seasonal changes. So of course, that's where relativity comes into play. Insect time refers to the lifespans and biological rhythms of small creatures. Many insects live only days or weeks. Well, I could go on and talk about biological aspects. Dogs live for a few years. My parrot, who's a Southwing cockatoo, might live to be 70 or 80 years old right now. He just turned 20 about a week ago. In what we consider a fraction of our own lifetime, the paradox here is one of perception. For an insect, a day might be a significant portion of his life, while for humans, it's routine. The biological processes that dictate insect time operate at a much faster pace, highlighting the relativity of time depending on the observer. Atomic time is defined by the vibration of atoms, specifically the transition of cesium atoms, which form the basis for our most accurate clocks. Atomic time is incredibly precise, measuring seconds with astonishing accuracy. Well, if you take solar time and you keep dividing it down and down and down and down to the atomic level, of course it'll be accurate compared to some old clock sitting on your grandma's mantelpiece your grandmother's mantelpiece that has gears in there that haven't been oiled for years. Of course it'll be more accurate because it's such a small subdivision. I mean, that's like saying a child reading only monosyllabic sentences will be more accurate than someone like myself reading yogic philosophy. It's a much lower level of time and existence in comparison. The paradox, relativity and perception. The core paradox is that time is both an absolute and a relative concept, depending on the scale of measurement. Einstein's theory of relativity shows that time can dilate, it can expand, and contract based on gravity and speed. Well, I don't know about all that. Making it physically variable. Well, what kind of time are we talking about? We're talking about atomic time. We're talking about biological time. We're talking about cosmic time. You know, what are we talking about? Based on gravity and speed, making it physically variable. Meanwhile, each scale, cosmic, galactic, solar, biological, atomic, provides a different lens through which time is experienced and understood. Well, that's a very general statement about Einstein's theory of relativity. It shows that time can dilate and contract. Well, is that on the solar scale? Is that on the galactic scale? Is that on the cosmic scale? Is that on the biological scale? I don't know if that's true across the board. And I'm not arguing. I admired Einstein. One of his associates, Dr. John Archibald Wheeler, who taught out at UT here for a while. Like I said, I've been in Austin about 55 years. And I was associated with him. I became one of his, I won't call him, I don't know if he thought of me as a friend, but we were friendly toward each other, and we met in different places and at different times. In fact, I ran into him in London one day when I was coming back from Oxford, and he was coming back from Cambridge. He was on his It from Bit lecture tour at that time. This was 1990, in October 1990. For example, a moment in atomic time can be millions of cycles, while a moment in cosmic time can be centuries. Our perception of a moment in cosmic time can be centuries. Well, it can be millions of years, not just centuries. Our perception of time is deeply tied to our biological experimental context, creating a paradox where time is simultaneously fixed and fluid. Here's the conclusion, folks, and I'm sure you're ready for it. Time's paradox across scales challenges our understanding and forces us to reconsider our place in the universe. Whether measured by the age of galaxies or the fleeting life of an insect, time is a tapestry woven of different threads, each meaningful in its own context. Recognizing this paradox helps us to appreciate both the grandeur of cosmic evolution and the fleeting beauty of a single moment. I waxed poetic there for a second. Again, I'm James Exum, also known as Sakshi. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, that's great. If you didn't, that's okay too. And I will close. I didn't close the last one because I'm doing two of these in the same afternoon. In fact, back to back. But normally what I would say at this point, and I'm going to say, is be good to yourself, be good to each other, and be good to strangers. And who knows, someday we all may wake up in a revised world where strong men have left the political scene and we're back to normalcy, so to speak. We can talk once again with our neighbors about worrying whether they're this side of the political spectrum or that side, and so forth and so on. In other words, we'll be back to civilization, to civility, and the barbarians will have exited the stage. Yes, that's my opinion. Barbarians exited the stage. So just be good to yourself. This is the end of my 50 videos. This is number 50. I planned right after I started my first videos to do 50 by my 75th birthday, which is coming up 1 week from today. I'm finishing 1 week ahead of time. Thank goodness. Thanks to Brahman and to my hard work and input myself. You get out of life what you put in it, my friends. And you say, well, I did this and I did that. Well, karma's in there and dharma's in there. You can look those words up. Keep following yoga. It's a logical, philosophical standard. and there's great teachings within the volumes of yoga. The Upanishads, the Rig Veda, the Vedic philosophies, coming right on up to modern times. Patanjali Sutras, the Mahabharata, the Bhagavad Gita, some of my discourses. There's a lot of knowledge out there. And I hope you enjoyed it. And I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.